Okay, so it seemed like there were enough problems with the outlines that I saw that I thought I should walk you through the steps. So the first thing to do is to pull up the template. This is what my template looks like for a problem solution benefits design speech. I'm going to go ahead and put in what would be an appropriate header. Make sure you always put your name on your assignments. You learned that back in first grade. And then it says step one, start here. You want to erase those prompts. I get several of these turned back into me. For this speech, my audience scenario are people who are patients who might be prescribed antibiotics. Okay? And so my purpose is to persuade patients to utilize antibiotics appropriately. Right? And then my thesis sentence here is the thing that's going to actually go in my speech. So for this assignment, I have written a thesis sentence already. And it says that people should employ more intelligent responses to microbes in order to effectively protect themselves and others. Okay? Or something like that. Okay? So there it goes. Now, once I've done that, it says, when you've done here, move to the thesis sentence in the introduction below. See step number 2. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that prompt. Come down here to step number 2, and I'm going to insert my thesis sentence there. Now that I've done that, I can go ahead and move on to step number 3. Step number 3 says work on developing your proposed solution before developing the problem of the benefits. So in a problem solution benefits speech, the solution is the primary point of departure. So you want to make sure that that's where the bulk of your work is. You'll notice I've given you some prompts here on how to do that. Read through those. I actually have this one already developed, and so I can copy that and paste it into my situation. So here is what I've got. Okay. It says we can take steps to reduce the threat of resistant bacteria. We can reduce the amount of antibiotic products we use, and I've got, this is what we call the oral foot citation, or the oral footnote. The information of where I got the information, then what the information is. I've got the second step of that, and then my third step. So we're going to have reduce the amount of antibiotic products we use, adhere to the prescription, and get vaccines. Those are my main points. Now, one of the things you'll notice here is that even though I have written incomplete sentences, I haven't written incomplete paragraphs. I may actually want to say more there. The purpose of an outline is not to account for everything you're going to say. The purpose of the outline is to structure your ideas so that you can get them down quickly. A complete sentence outline still needs to be more efficient than writing out a manuscript. Many of the outlines I see students consistently doing is turning in where they've got big blocks of text. The complete sentences need to be complete sentences, but they need to be more concise complete sentences, because it's also the way we talk. So then it says, go on to step number 4. That's to write the problem. Here then, I've already done that, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that out and come over to where I've got that. And I can put that in here. Okay. So now you'll notice, because of the way my outline is structured, my Roman numeral 2 comes up right there. It says using antibiotics too often threatens everyone's health. That's my first main point. Then I have given information about Alexander Fleming. MRSA found in bathroom dormitories, and some other information from the World Health Organization. Then you'll notice here, kind of out of the structure of the outline itself, I've put a transition statement or summary statement. He says, so we have seen how the overuse of antibiotics has created a problem in need of a remedy. One of the nice things about reading out loud is you catch your grammatical mistakes. All right, this is the summary statement. So the main point, this is a main point. The things that go beside Roman numerals are main points. Everything else is a subpoint. So you look at your main points. The structure of a point is a signpost. So every time I see the Roman numeral when I'm speaking, I'm going to remember to say a signpost. This will be first, then second, and then when I get to my third main point, third. So signpost, state, that's the statement or the sentence that's right there. You want to make sure you look at your outlines to make sure that those are complete sentences that make claims rather than things that launch into source citations. Oftentimes what I see from students is that they have a source citation. You see here I've got Alexander Fleming, and that's what they start their main point with. Your main point should be a claim. It should be a sentence that says something, right? And so then it says I can move on. By the way, here's my summary of my second main points. I said by remembering to reduce, adhere, and vaccinate, that's the substructure here. Hey, we reduce the amount of antibiotics we use, we adhere to the prescription, we get vaccines. So I've just internally summarized this main point. We reduce, adhere, and vaccinate. The average patient can prevent creation-resistant bacteria. And again, I've noticed some misspellings there as I talk my way through this. Now I'm ready for my third main point, which is that I have benefits. Okay, so there we go. I'll include that here. It says there are benefits to taking these steps. And I have given that information. And again, I've got included information for oral footnotes. That's what I'm going to say out loud when I introduce that information, but I'll also make sure to include that down below. All right, it says now that I have done the main points. One of the things that students often misunderstand is they often think that you write a speech from top to bottom. You start at the attention getter and you work all the way through to the sense of closure. Really, you don't do that. You start with a compelling thesis, and then you work out from there. You structure that thesis. So now that you've got all your main points in there, you can go back and include your attention getter. There's my attention getter. Today, we'll see using antibiotics too often threatens everyone. Then we will see steps each of us can take to reduce the threat of resistant microbes. And finally, we will examine ways that these steps benefit us. This follows immediately after the thesis sentence. And there, remember, is my thesis sentence. Once you've done this, one of the things you want to go back and make sure to do is to make sure that we have what's called verbal coherence. What happened with my Roman numeral there? We have verbal coherence. So notice here I say, using antibiotics too often threatens everyone's health. Here I said it threatens everyone. So I should replace that with everyone's health so that it's consistent. You look at your preview, you make sure that the wording used in the preview matches the wording used at each main point. So then we'll look at the steps each of us can take to reduce the threat of resistant microbes. We can each take steps to reduce the threat of resistant bacteria. Okay, so there I have bacteria before I use the word microbes. So again, I want to make sure that I'm using consistent words. because your audience doesn't necessarily get to rehear what you've said unless you repeat yourself. So finally, it says we will examine ways that these steps benefit us. And I say there are benefits of taking these steps. And that the wording change there is incidental enough. It's not that big a deal. What you really want to make sure is that you're using consistent words in the keywords, resistant microbes as opposed to resistant bacteria, even though bacteria are microbes. All right. Now that I've done that, I can come down here and make sure that my review is consistent. Let me pull up my review here. And actually, I'm just going to go ahead and put the whole conclusion here. You want to make sure that you also write a sense of closure to your review. But I say today we have looked at the problem of antibacterial resistant, I think the word is microbes, right? 1:1. See, should say the problem of using too many antibiotics. We can see, we've seen the steps that we can take to reduce, what did I say here? The threat of resistant microbes. And finally, we have seen the benefits these practices have to our health. With all the fears that we have for the spread of disease, it's good to know that we are not helpless hosts to disease-causing microbes. We can be active in making our lives healthier and creating a healthier world. All right. So once I've done that, then I come back up here and I'm going to include an attention getter and an orientation to the topic. Those are the two things that are missing from my introduction. An attention getter is something that grabs your audience's attention, things that help your audience focus and make them want to listen. Orientation to the topic are things that help your audience understand what you're talking about. So now I've got a complete introduction. Take out some space there. I've got my main points, Roman numerals 1, 2, and 3. I've got my review. Now I need to make sure that my outline is complete with source citations. So when you're creating a speech, you should have your work cited in several different ways. One, you have oral footnotes, ways that you say what you're going to say. You put in the outline things that you're going to say to help your audience hear where you got the information. Then you're going to have a written works cited page on the document itself, which is standard for academic work, although I will tell you, when you're speaking out in the real world, it's good to have the same kind of thing going on because that helps your audience know. If somebody asks you for that information following the speech, you're able to show them exactly where you got the information, and it boosts your credibility. So let me go back and look at my rubric. There is a rubric posted in eCampus. I'm just going to see if I follow my own rubric. This is number 1, outline used to complete sentences. Yes, I've used complete sentences. As a grader, I'm looking primarily at your Roman numerals to see that the statements beside those are indeed complete sentence. It says persuasive model is identified. Nope, I have not done that. Oh, there it is. Okay, I can just replace all this stuff right here and say yes, I've got a problem, solution, benefit. Don't need the word template. Persuasive model properly executed. I should hope so. Oral source citation information is given. Yes. Number 5, bibliography format. Yes, my bibliography is formatted correctly. Number 6, the bibliography is complete. Yes, that's all the sources I used. I used clear indentation. So that's the indentation is the amount of space you put in front of each numeration. So all the Roman numerals should line up on the left margin. All capital letter A's should be a certain amount within capital letter number 1, or Arabic number 1s should all line up the same. That's there. I used consistent enumeration. My preview and my review have verbal coherence with the main points. So that's all 10 of my criteria for the speech. And what you want to do is make sure that you're getting all of that in there when you're preparing your speech outlines. So that hopefully gives you some clues as to how to proceed with your own outlines. If you have questions, of course, you need to remember to email me. Thanks.